Hi, it's Jon Mitchell, Mayor of New Bedford, and this is another installment of the Mayor's Weekly Update. So a couple of things I wanted to touch on this week that we announced very recently. So one of them was a new program to support small businesses. Two programs, actually. Both will be run by the New Bedford Economic Development Council, and both will be funded through American Rescue Act Plan funds, ARPA funds. So the first is something that we've called MB Forward. That is a program that will support small businesses with grants, and especially businesses that are still struggling a little bit with the effects of the pandemic. There have been a number of businesses in the city over the course of the pandemic who have really had to cut back to make ends meet, to keep themselves going. What we're trying to do is provide them what's commonly referred to as working capital, which is sort of the oxygen for lots of businesses, just the money they need when things are slow to get through and to a more prosperous time. So if you're in a restaurant and there aren't too many people going in, let's say in the dead of winter, and you're having a tough time paying utility bills or your staff or buying food, this money can help get businesses like that through a down cycle so that they're in a position to thrive once business picks back up again. So that's a really good program, and it holds, I think, a lot of promise in helping businesses take the next step forward. The other thing that we're creating is something called NB 100, which would be loosely described as what's often called an angel fund. This is funding for brand new businesses, not existing businesses like NB Forward, but brand new businesses that whose owners have an idea, but they need, and they have a business plan, but they need to run with the idea. They need a little bit of funding to get off the ground, and that's what this will do. So we've had a number of businesses in the course of the pandemic that have spun their wheels a little bit, or new prospective businesses spin their wheels a little bit to get going. What this is going to give businesses is a little bit of traction. So that's something that we're really excited about. Derek Santos and the team at the New Bedford Economic Development Council have done a great job in assembling these programs, and we're giving them a little over $3 million to get all of these things going forward, and so that work is about to start happening. The other big announcement this week that I wanted to touch on, and it's something that's been in the news for a long, long time in New Bedford, and that is the harbor cleanup. The announcement this week was that the Environmental Protection Agency would be sending $73 million to New Bedford to finish the cleanup, which is great news. And there's a little bit of background. So for many years, as people know, two manufacturers in particular dumped PCBs into the harbor, and that contaminated everything in the harbor and made it hard for the harbor to redevelop. It became very expensive to dredge the bottom of the harbor to allow ships to pass and to allow them to do the work they do. And it also muddied up, in every sense, the upper harbor. It made it very difficult for us to create public accommodation and public open spaces in places where there was a lot of contamination. A lot of progress has been made in recent years, and after literally decades of cleanup, in the last few years, the cleanup has been accelerated to a point where it's now almost done. It's about 95% done. The money we're getting now is the remaining 5%. It'll largely go in the north end, north of Coggeshall Street, to clean up the areas along the shoreline, to clean up that area on Sawyer Street, right next to Market Basket. If you're in the Market Basket parking lot, you look to the north and there's that whole area that's fenced in. That's an area that needs to be cleaned up as well, so that can get redeveloped. Again, there's the possibility of lots of jobs to be created as a result on that very site, but we're also excited that the cleanup will allow for the construction of the Riverwalk in the north end. That's going to be big. That's going to be something that will be around for generations and really give people in the neighborhood an opportunity to connect with the water in ways they never have. So it's a big win, and it's something we appreciate the work that our federal delegation did on that. We certainly advocated to the Environmental Protection Agency to prioritize New Bedford in this process, and so they did, and that's really, $73 million is what we needed, and so that should get us to a point where if it's not 100%, it's going to be 99.9% done, and that will allow all these great other things to go forward. So good news, real good news this week on both fronts. So hopefully next week we'll bring some more good news. Until then, this has been the Mayor's Weekly Update.